Hey, this is Bald Gasper, in fact, or Oscar Tagiev, which is my real name. I've never used my real name ever before on this channel, I believe. But I suppose times are changing. I am changing. And with this change came the notion that I don't really want to work on this channel anymore. I was kind of debating on that in and out half a year ago. I thought maybe I'd change the way I make the videos. Maybe I'd make them more simple or do less of the editing thing, A, B, C, D changes. But then I kind of figured ultimately I just don't really want to do the whole Bald Gasper thing anymore. And it's not like this channel ever had a big following. It's 30 people throughout the time span of 5 years that this channel has been out there. Not something that would really warrant the existence of this video, but I kind of felt like doing it for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is if anyone ever stumbles upon this channel and is curious what exactly happened to it, I didn't really want to leave it on a kind of cliffhanger, I guess you could call it. But I suppose the major reason is kind of doing it for myself and doing my own confession of a mask based on the Yukio Mishima book, which I read and really made me reflect my own journey and this chapter of Bald Gasper, and to kind of come clean and talk about it. Another thing I just remembered that really inspired the existence of this video that I'm making right now is what happened to Silent Rob, who used to be one of my icons, no doubt, who ended up really revealing himself as a curious character, to say the very least. But he did make that one video where and it's the best video he's ever made, where he was in his car and he was completely honest and just frank with his viewers for once about what kind of person he really is, and what's been going on in the past however many years that he's been making his videos. So it's these venues that made me feel like, you know what, I'll put this last. I don't know if it's the last, I don't know. The one thing that life has shown me is there's never like a forever kind of ordeal. I don't believe in the words forever or never. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen tomorrow. But at least now, and at least for the last year, ever since I made this the Minecraft video, I had no interest in this channel anymore. I made the Minecraft video, and once again I had that same feeling of emptiness, of just I don't feel anything, I don't feel like I did something that would just really arouse in me that sense of fulfillment. You know, I just felt blank, and I released a video and I felt like that's it. It's been kind of a while that I've been debating the whole video games and editing videos for 7 months in a fucking row. That whole thing. It's been a really long time. And I released the video and I said, you know what, I'm going to act on that. And I'm actually going to stop. I suppose I just don't have that passion for the Bald Gasper channel anymore. Not that I regret it. It was an interesting time. It was a fun time. But, okay, let me try to unscramble this as best as I can and kind of start from the very beginning and talk about exactly what Bald Gasper is. Like I said, in my own kind of confessions of a mask direction. So Bald Gasper, first of all, um, the name came from this idea I had to make Italo Dream House music, which I'm not going to get too into, but if you ever heard the genre, I don't know, for me, it has this moisture to it, like this wetness to it. Everything about it is wet. Like the instruments are wet. A lot of the times they will use samples from like rivers flowing. You will hear rivers flowing in the background. So it's a very wet house genre. And I thought, well, it needs a wet name if I'm ever going to make Italo Dream House. So I really thought about it for a long time. And I came up with the Bald Gasper thing. And I just said it over and over and over. You know, Bald Gasper. And it's like, yeah, that has that moisture to it. So Bald Gasper was going to be an Italo Dream House name, you know, I was going to use to make that genre of music. But I never did it. But I stuck with the name. I had it in my mind. I mean, and when I mentioned this before, I used to make YouTube channel after YouTube channel after YouTube channel. I make one, doesn't go anywhere. I make a new one, that doesn't go anywhere. It's been like 4 or 5, I think 4 channels before this one that I've made. Um, and then I made this one, and I thought, what name should I use? And I just used the Bald Gasper name because I had it and I liked it. But Bald Gasper was never a real thing. And let me explain. I made this channel when I was in the during the worst chapter of my life, undoubtedly. To put it shortly, this friend of ours, this just it's like a bundle of us, you know, and this new person came into our lives, and he introduced me and my best friend to this girl. At the time, I was a guy who just really wanted to have the status of having a girlfriend because I really didn't like myself, and my self-esteem didn't exist. And by having a girlfriend, I thought that, you know, I would be higher than other people and I could have this status, you know, and I would just feel better about myself because I would not be this like loser who doesn't have a girlfriend. You know, I would have a girlfriend, so I would be better than a lot of people. I never liked this girl though. But what happens, I still wanted her for the status, and instead my best friend and her really get a connection going. And that destroyed my ego, my extremely fragile ego at the time. It just fucking nuked it, pretty much. And so I told my best friend to go fuck himself, my friend group to whom he belonged in to fuck themselves, because I basically wanted everyone to side against him. I wanted him to basically break up with her because either she's mine or no one gets her. At the time, I was a very different person. And interestingly enough, this was, like I said, one of the lowest points in my entire life, the lowest point in my entire life. But it actually was the moment that kick-started a lot of great change for myself. And so I made the channel at that time because I wanted to take my mind off what was happening. So I figured, you know, I'm going to make this channel. I kind of thought about it in and out. It's a channel where I'm going to maybe talk, just do whatever I feel like, honestly. And maybe I was going to talk about a certain event that happened, or play a game of some kind. And that's what I did. And I started making these videos while I was at my village. I went to my village, to my grandparents' village, I mean, to get away from all the ego chaos. Funny story, I'm currently moving a lot of these clips I took in the village, in said village. I was going to make a big like movie on, but I never did that. I have the clips and they exist more as just kind of a memento of the place. I'm moving them from the PC because I'm about to sell it, because like I said, the whole idea of video games has just been completely disinteresting to me for the longest time. But again, let me not jump too far off of the whole linear process. So I made the 4 videos talking about the stories. Then I came back, and then that's when I started to feel the fucking severe depression, the major depressive disorder that I was actually. I was dealing with depression for a long time, but under all these circumstances, this is where it finally came out, and this is when I finally rather started to feel these psychosomatic sensations. Like I had this pressure in my gut that didn't go away for 2 years. And I just couldn't stop thinking about anyone else but my best friend at the time. But that's irrelevant. Point is, Bald Gasper kind of spawned out of a bad moment, and Bald Gasper had always been born out of it always existed as another part of the insecurities I was having. That is the truth. I didn't realize this for the longest time, but Bald Gasper, I was never myself when making these videos. I would try to mimic one of 3 people whenever I made anything on the Bald Gasper channel, except by the very end, where I started to be much more like myself, that yet still having some semblance of whoever I was trying to mimic, just like Silent Rob, because I didn't really like myself. I thought I was a boring ass motherfucker who has nothing to talk about, and is just a piece of shit loser, honestly. Um, but I wanted some recognition. I wanted some form of social life, and I thought YouTube could provide me these things. I thought I could be famous and feel good about myself. So I would try to mimic either Penguin Z Critical, which is in my older videos where I would lower my voice. I never speak like this in real life, but I would lower my voice, and I would kind of talk in a monotone kind of fashion, like Critical, and use his terminologies like, "Oh, this dastardly piece of shit in this predicament," talking like that. I can't even do it anymore. I don't remember how to do it, but back in the day, I used to do a very good Critical mimicking, I'm going to call it. I used to mimic Critical very well. Because, like I said, that was the whole point. I wanted to be someone else, feel like I'm someone else. I used to also try to mimic Vinesauce Vinny. Vinesauce Vinny has the most influence on this channel. It goes from just the way I talk. Because you would feel, if you know who Vinesauce Vinny is, you would feel like, how do you mimic someone like that? It's just an ordinary guy. No, he has certain aspects about himself. From my descriptions on the videos, to my video titles, to the Full Streams channel title cards, to the idea of streaming as a general, comes from Vinesauce Vinny. I remember one of the biggest dreams I had was being a member of the Vinesauce team. There's even a drawing of a custom Vineshroom, but you know what? I'm already sharing a lot of information. I'm gonna keep that one to myself. It's just like an orange drooling mushroom. I was like, that would be me. I'd be part of the team. I would be happy for once. It's a depressing story, really. Because my childhood was not the greatest. That's for sure. And that's kind of how it happened. Last person I really tried to mimic the most out of the 3, and these are the 3 I try to mimic the most, is Vinesauce Joel. I especially used to do that a lot back in the day with some of the older channels, but even in this one, there's some of that still there. But it was mostly Vinesauce Vinny by the end of it. And if you really look through the videos, you could tell that there is the influence of these creators who I tried to become, basically, and tried to receive some recognition and fame and attention and love. Love, especially, more than anything. And so I kept on making these videos, and to tell you the truth, as time went on, actually I'll get to that, but I would mimic one type of video or a different type of video they would make. Like, all the ideas are basically taken from somewhere else. Not word for word, but idea here, idea there, taken from it. And that's what Bald Gasper always was, and I'm not surprised that it never really went anywhere, because it was never really its own thing. It was just kind of like this bootleg, hybrid kind of case of the things I was trying to mirror. But as time went on, like I said, I actually hit what is known as a bottom point in life, and that is when I started to finally put in some time to work on myself, because I went to a therapist. She told me major depressive disorder, you should even get some medication going. So I did that, and that's when in one of the full streams I talk about it, that I'm on medication, I've been diagnosed. And that's really when I started to learn more about myself, what I want to do, who I want to be, and who I even am. Because, like I said, there was such a massive disliking. I didn't even like my own name. I used to call myself Vlad back in the day, because I kind of took the word bald from Bald Gasper, and B in the Russian alphabet is a V, and then I switched A with L around, so Vlad, Vlad Gasper, right? And yeah, it's just nothing about myself that I really liked. I thought I was this weird subhuman, and that the world's against me. The one thing I used to talk about a lot was school in a negative light, because school for me was not a great time. Uh, though half on half, as I'm learning these days, a lot of it was actually pretty cool, but a lot of it just had me contain this pent up frustration inside, and I would make video after video, basically belittling everything I could about school, from the first day of school to the last day of school, to these events they would plan. And for example, like, I made a video talking about a camp experience I had, which I listened back to it, and I'm just I'm flabbergasted, quite frankly, because I don't see anything wrong with the camp thing that they've organized. I had this issue where I wanted to play these games, and then I couldn't sleep in the room, and nowadays I'm thinking to myself, I could have switched rooms very easily if I wanted to, and there's nothing really wrong with what they're doing here. They went out to hide from their parents, to have a little, night out, basically, kind of thing, just a bundle of friends together. And they even invited me several times to come join them for a drink, but I was just laying in bed, turned on the side, angry. Okay, so like I said, I don't see anything wrong with this anymore. But back then, like I said, it just felt like this group of shallow imbeciles, that got together to pretend to be a bunch of badasses. That's what people do. You hide from your parents to drink with your friends because you can't drink at that age. It's nothing too surreal. Excuse me for a second. I'm gonna see if the stuff is moved into my flash drive. All right, yeah, it has. So took care of that. But like I said, the majority of this channel was created from insecurity, hatred towards school, trying to run from the fact that, you know, my ego had been crushed because my, you know, my best friend, who I saw as beneath me, was now, he got the girl I didn't even care about, you know. But like I said, you know, this is where I really started to take interest and consideration towards my mental health, and this is finally when things started to really look up, and I started to, you know, like I said, take into consideration, um, who is the real authentic me. You know, that's when you can notice the change. If I don't know who exactly I'm talking to here, you know, that one person who might stumble upon this channel for whatever reason, or me from the future, perhaps, because I don't plan to delete these videos. In fact, you know, because the one thing I've never mentioned, but a lot of the old stuff on this channel does not reflect my current views at all. And yet I keep them around because they kind of work as like a diary almost. Like I can look back and see how I thought then and how I think now. I can compare. The biggest, well, not the biggest, but the, I suppose the, for this channel, the biggest change really came when I started to think, do I even want to be a video game channel? Like, do I want to represent a video game channel? Do I want to be making these videos? Do I even want to be playing video games? The answer turned out to be no. I actually don't really care about any of this stuff. And that was the truth. You know, back in the day, this was a really great escape. But the more I thought about it, you know, like, time is too precious for me to spend 8 hours, 10 hours, a fucking day on stuff that isn't real. You know, that's just my outlook these days. And I've been practically not even touching video games these days anymore. Um, Last video game I played was Fear, which I think I played a couple of weeks ago just because I was exhausted from the college finals. I was like, man, I want some hardcore dopamine. So I played 5 hours of Fear and then I uninstalled that stuff. Great game, enjoyed it. But I was like, you know what? After this, I still want to do the stuff that I do these days. My hobbies have completely changed. These days, I prefer things like writing, walking, cooking, um, things I've always appreciated, but it took a lot of that self analysis and self reflection to really get to that point. Um, and that's kind of really what it boils down to. Bald Gasper, there is no Bald Gasper. Bald Gasper is an imitation of who I wanted to be at the time, who I no longer want to be. Like, that's kind of the fascinating thing with change, you know. With change, there's a lot of loss, you could say. Yeah, sure. Uh, the old you, the people that that I was around with, you know, a lot of people went. Um, the kind of old outlooks and everything of that sort. Um, it's really just a marvelous journey, to be frank. Sorry about that. Uh, put the flash drive back in again for. Man, it's been a lot of files. But anyways, there's not a lot of time left on this recorder. But pretty much, that's pretty much the whole story of the matter. And what I've learned in this whole journey is really, you know, the authentic you can be a much different or much more different of a person than who one might think they are. You know, I used to think I love video games. I used to think I love that kind of culture. But even in those videos, like for example, I beat a very hard stage in Mega Man 8, and I even say it in the video, like I say, I feel nothing. Because it's true, because I felt nothing. I felt no sense of accomplishment. I just felt like I wasted my damn time. But like I said, I don't really regret any of this. And during that time, it's really what kept me afloat and going. And I'm grateful for it. But ever since not too long ago, like it's crazy, like at least a year ago, I was still heavy into this stuff. And I made the Minecraft video, and now it's no longer really the case. So if there's anything I want you to take out of this video is, really just be honest with yourself. It's not easy, but that's what I did. I'm not here to share any advice. That's something I catch myself in all the time. I start teaching people how to do things. No, like that's what I did. I caught myself, uh, and I still don't fully know who I am, but I've gotten much closer. Um, and that's the gist of it. Like I said, I don't really plan to make anything else on this channel anymore. What'll actually happen, who knows? But I do have a couple of ideas for maybe uh, entirely new YouTube channels. Maybe, I don't know. These are just ideas in my head that I have not planned out to actually realize. Um, just things that I have around my head that have nothing to do with anything that I've previously made on this channel or any of the channels before. Entirely uh, different kind of stuff. So if I ever make something like that, and if somehow they get paired together, that's completely fine. This is who Oscar Tagiev used to be. And the whole channel is 5 years of kind of actually drastic change. I went from like I don't even know that person anymore, the guy that I used to be, and now this is who I am. But that settles it. I hope you did enjoy some of the videos. I know that my Far Cry 4 Out of Bounds video did very well. But like I said, even in that, you can kind of hear the fact of how numb I am and how miserable I am. Because I was miserable, depressed. Not in a good place in life at all. And this is how I sound right now, much better. But with that comes the fact that I don't really care about this channel. So that's that. Take care. If I ever see you on YouTube again, fun. And as Sega CD Universe says, be good.